Good afternoon. It's truly a pleasure to accompany you at this global conference on World Pneumonia Day to highlight a very important public health issue. My name is Juan Celeron, and I'm the current president of the American Thoracic Society, ATS, and it's truly a pleasure to represent the ATS at this event. I have received research materials from PharmaBite, GSK, and Merck in order to provide medications free of cost to participants in NIH-funded studies. However, I have received no salary support from these companies, and I will not be discussing any commercial products in this presentation. So the mission of the American Thoracic Society is to improve health worldwide by advancing research, clinical care, and public health in respiratory disease, critical illness, and sleep disorders. Pneumonia as a cause of death in children under age 5 has decreased markedly over the last 30 years by about threefold. This said, however, pneumonia is still, as of 2017, was the leading cause of death for children under the age of 5. The reason why we're seeing this reduced mortality from pneumonia in young children is multifactorial, and it has to do with having addressed some risk factors such as poor nutrition, air pollution, poor sanitation, as well as better availability of resources such as pneumococcal vaccine and antibiotics. However, as I said, still an important cause of death in young children, and more than 800,000 children died from pneumonia in 2017. Now, this map shows, the map on the left panel, the number of child deaths due to pneumonia per 100,000 children per year. And what this shows is that children are most likely to die from pneumonia across sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. In fact, deaths in just 5 countries, including India, Pakistan, Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Ethiopia, accounted for more than half of all deaths from childhood pneumonia in 2017. It is for this reason that some colleagues have called pneumonia the ultimate disease of poverty. There is a very strong correlation between a country's income and the child mortality rate from pneumonia, as this map shows. Pneumonia is not a disease that spreads easily across borders. Transmission is generally restricted to local communities. And of course, it can be controlled if basic health measures are available. Again, the disease is more common in places where poverty is common, healthcare infrastructure and resources are lacking. Here, we'll look at the risk factors for childhood pneumonia as of 2017. The most important risk factor is child wasting, which refers to a severe form of malnutrition where children have a weight that is too low for their height. In addition to child wasting, there are other risk factors such as indoor air pollution from solid fuels, outdoor air pollution, short gestation for birth weight, child stunting, again, underweight, poor sanitation, no access to hand washing facility, secondhand smoke, non-exclusive breastfeeding, which affects nutrition in young children, and vitamin A and zinc deficiencies. This graph shows pneumonia mortality rates by age for a period extended from 1990 to 2017. And again, this shows the same data as in a prior slide, where deaths from pneumonia in young children under the age of 5 have been reduced by threefold. However, we don't see such reductions in other age groups. In fact, for the group with the highest mortality from pneumonia, who are people who are 17 years of age and older, mortality has only decreased by 9% over this 27-year period. These are data for the US. So between early February and early October of 2020, we had about 200,499 deaths that were primarily attributed to COVID-19. Now, there is another group of 320,143 deaths from pneumonia that supposedly also coexisted with influenza or COVID-19. So a major proportion of all deaths during this period, early February to early October 2020, which total up to 2.1 million. However, deaths from COVID-19 were not equally distributed across racial or ethnic groups in the US. In fact, unfortunately, COVID-19 has further exposed long-standing racial and ethnic disparities in respiratory health in the US. So these are data for non-Hispanic Blacks in the United States, and where it's for the entire country or for a District of Columbia, DC, or different states, the mortality from COVID-19 is markedly higher in Blacks than in non-Hispanic whites. We also see these disparities in deaths from COVID-19 for Latinx in different states. This has only increased since June when these data were collected, and really marked disparities for Native Americans living in states such as New Mexico or Arizona. So how can we reduce the number of deaths from pneumonia? Where there are different factors, including promoting breastfeeding, which, as we show, exclusive breastfeeding reduces deaths from pneumonia in young infants. Of course, increasing access to healthcare and treatment with antibiotics. Along those lines, increasing access to oxygen therapy. When oxygen is needed, mortality from pneumonia is increased, and this is a factor for low-resource countries. Increasing access to antibiotics, particularly inexpensive antibiotics such as amoxicillin. Reducing air pollution would have several benefits, not only reducing the risk of deaths from pneumonia, but also reducing the risk of asthma in children. And then increasing the availability of vaccination. So it's been said in some studies that if we increase coverage with PCV13 in low-income countries, we would, to the levels that we have for coverage for DTP3 vaccination, then PCV13 could prevent as many as 399,000 deaths from childhood pneumonia and 54.6 million episodes of pneumonia worldwide per year, compared to a situation where we had no pneumococcal vaccine available. India, which has one of the highest numbers of child deaths from pneumonia, only introduced a pneumococcal vaccination in 2017, and therefore the coverage is still very low. There is a lot of potential for beneficial effects in India alone. Thank you so much for organizing this important event. On behalf of the ATS, we strongly believe that advocating for better pneumonia care is foremost important for public health. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Muito obrigado.